Dear students, wishing you a very good day. Today I am here to explain the poem An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum, written by Stephen Spender. The poem An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum deals with social injustice and class inequalities. In this poem, Stephen Spender was concerned about the discrimination and the denial of opportunities to the poor children living in pathetic conditions. Stephen Spender urges all concerned to take appropriate measures so that these poor slum children can get good education, which can give them quality life and open before them the doors of opportunities. When you read the poem, just keep in mind that we are talking about the children who belong to the world of underprivileged. They are poor and marginalized. They are denied of a quality life due to lack of good education. The world of prosperity and opportunity are denied to them. The poet wants to convey that this slum is a dark spot on the map of the world. It's not recognized by the civilized world. The poet criticizes the capitalist economy, which only favors the rich to become richer, and more poor people get marginalized and would end in slums. In the first stanza, Stephen Spender describes the miserable condition of the children. The faces of these children are unlike the usual children of schools. The faces are dull. They are not exuberant or energetic. Now let us start with the poem. Far, far from gusty waves, these children's faces like rootless weeds. Far, far means a great distance from gusty. Gusty means sudden and strong waves. These children's faces. The faces of these slum children are compared to rootless weeds. Weeds are unwanted plants. All of you know weeds means unwanted. Rootless, without roots. The poet says that the faces of these children are dull and lacks energy and vigor. So far from gusty waves means they are not energetic. Okay, they are dull. These children are compared to unwanted weeds. Here, the writer says that these children are like the rootless weeds. And children, I think you know that these weeds grow on their own. Or so here we can say that they are unwanted in civilized society. Their hair torn round their pelor. The hair are not properly combed and falls on their pale. Pelor is pale faces, weak faces. So hair fall on their pale faces. The tall girl with her weighed down head. Now let us see the students who are sitting in the classroom. First of all, the poet mentions a tall girl. He describes a tall girl who seems to be burdened by poverty. And she looks sick and tired. And how is she sitting? With her head down. Then, second student, the paper seeming boy. Paper seeming is metaphor. There is another boy who is so weak, he is so thin that he has been compared to a sheet of paper with rat's eyes. Again the use of metaphor. The boy's eyes are like rat's eyes because the eyes seem to be searching for food. So this shows that the poor condition of the children and they are malnourished. The stunted. Stunted is impaired growth or development when the growth is not proper. Unlucky here. Here is a person who is legally entitled to the property. But here this child who is stunted, what he has got from his father? Disease. And what disease? Of twisted bones. His bones are twisted. Reciting a father's gnarled. This means gnarled means twisted. What disease is he has got? His bones are twisted. So gnarled disease. His listen from his desk. Then the poet describes another student who is physically disabled. The poet says that this boy is unlucky. Why is he called unlucky? Because he has inherited deformity from his father. This boy is sitting on his bench and reciting his lesson. Then in this dull, dark classroom, what do we see? At the back of the dim class, one unnoted means unnoticed, sweet and young. So at the back of this dim class was a sweet and unnoticed young boy, lost in the world of dreams. His eyes live in a dream, so the poet could see his eyes, which were bright and full of dream. Of squirrels game in tree room. Other than this means everything is dull and dark, but in this dull and dark classroom also we see this young boy who is lost in the world of dreams, and he was interested in playing with the squirrels in the tree house. So what we have seen in the first stanza, the faces of almost all the children are dull. They are unwanted and have gloomy faces. So we can clearly sense their poverty. They have diseased bodies inherited from their parent and are victims of poverty. And at the dim end of the room sits one child who has bright eyes. He is clearly different from others in this classroom. In the first stanza, the poet describes the student sitting in the classroom. Now in the second stanza, the poet describes the dirty classroom. Let us start with the explanation. On sour cream walls. Sour cream is the color of sour cream, off-white, creamish, dirty white color you can say. The poet describes the wall of the school. So what is the color? Like the color of sour cream. That means the walls are dull and has not been painted for a long time. Donations. The walls are covered with different charts and images that must have been donated by different people. Now let us see what do we see on the walls. Shakespeare said there is a picture of Shakespeare on the wall. Then cloudless at dawn. The dawn means early morning. The other picture shows sun on a cloudless morning. Civilized dome riding all cities. Then we can see the ancient domes, which stands for civilization and progress. Belled means bells, church bells. Flowery Tyrolese valley. This Tyrolese valley, it's a beautiful valley in Austria. So the next poster is of a Tyrolese valley full of churches, flowers, which symbolize the beautiful creation of nature. Open-handed map, awarding the world its world. What else can we see? We can see the picture of a map, awarding the children the progressing and developed world. And yet for these children, these windows, not this map, their world. But these children who have never seen the world, who have never come in contact with the civilized society, so the map of the world is irrelevant. Because what is their world? Their world is only what they see out of the window of the classroom. And what can they see out of the window of the classroom? The slum. So the slum area and classroom, this is their world, where all their futures painted with a fog. So their future is full of darkness. As fog makes the visibility poor, their future is also foggy because their poverty has made their future bleak. A narrow street sealed. Sealed is shut or locked in with the lead sky. It means the future of these children is compared to a narrow street, locked street. That means there is no wide scope available to these poor children. The limited space does not offer too many opportunities to improve their future. Far, far from rivers, capes, and star of birds. These children have no access to beauties of nature like rivers or capes, so they are far away from rivers and capes. Star of birds refers to good education. These children are far away from knowledge and education. Students, the picture of Shakespeare, buildings with domes, stars, world maps, beautiful valleys represent the civilized world. These are in complete contrast to the world of these children sitting in the classroom. The children sitting in the classroom are poor, malnourished, and deprived in every way. They live in pathetic conditions. The world of the children is obviously in contrast to the civilized world as represented by the pictures on the walls around. Even the sour green color of the classroom wall symbolizes the bleak future of these children who study there. The third stanza describes the pitiable condition of these slum children. Listen to the explanation carefully. Surely Shakespeare is wicked. The map a bad example, with ships and sun and love tempting them to steal. Shakespeare's picture on the wall of a classroom is wicked because they can't imagine any other world except their own, and Shakespeare shows them the beautiful world of ships, sun, love, which is not real for them. And it has a corrupting influence on these children. It tempts them. The map a bad example. How can the map be a bad example? Because that map does not hold any place for these slum children. The beauty, the vastness, the radiance of such things will only tempt them to steal. For that slyly means cunning, turn in their cramped. Cramped means limited, confined holes. So cramped hole refers to the limited space in their slum. These children, their lives are confined to the narrow holes of that dark slum. Even their fate conspires them to be imprisoned there. That means they remain confined to these four walls from fog to endless night. So they live life of uncertainty. They don't know what the future holds for them since morning to night, and their condition turns from bad to worst. On their slag heap, these children wear skins peeped through by bones. Slag heap means wastage. But here, in this stanza, slag heap refers to their bodies. Their existence is indeed very bad. These children are so thin that it appears that they are wearing skins. The undernourished bodies of these children look like skeletons comprising only of bones. And spectacles of steel with mended glasses. Like bottle bits on stones, they wear spectacles which are made of steel. And students, you can easily see that these spectacles are very cheap. Even the lenses in the spectacles are repaired. They are steel framed spectacles with repaired glasses make them appear like the broken pieces of bottles scattered on stone. And I'm sure you must have seen or noticed the use of simile here. All their time and space are foggy slum. So blot their maps with slums as big as doom. So their life, see the first line, all their time and space are foggy slum. Their life is forever limited to their dirty slums. The area around them is filled with slums only. Then it is their misfortune that they get to see only slums around them. This is their map. This indicates that escape from the present condition is not possible for them. Here, the poet shows his anger by suggesting that the maps on their walls should show huge slums instead of beautiful scenic graphics. Spender feels education is the gateway to the betterment of these children. It's only the education that can release them from their miserable life. So, in the fourth stanza, last stanza, the poet appeals to the governor, inspector, and visitor to do something to improve the condition of these slum children. This map showing the beautiful world can become their reality too. The poet hopes the authorities would realize their moral responsibilities and free these children by breaking the barrier that hinders their growth and development. Now let us move on to the explanation. Unless governor, inspector, or visitor. Here, the poet appeals to the governor, inspector, and visitor to do something to improve their condition. This map becomes their window. He says that unless the world map becomes a window for these children to explore the outside world, and the window that shut them up from the rest of the world are broken, their future will remain the same as their present. The poet requests the higher authorities to help these children break free from their world confined in the slums. And these windows means the windows of the classroom symbolize the environment of the slum, which blocks the progress of the slum children, that shut upon their lives like catacombs. Catacombs are burial place. Their slum is enclosed. It is congested. So this is an enclosed space like a grave that is dark and suffocating. Break open till they break the town. They refer to slum children. The poet wants all the barriers to be pulled down. What barriers? The barriers that keep them away from true education, and show the children to green fields and make their world. So let these children go out and face the world. Let them see the green fields, and these green fields are a sign of prosperity. Give them the opportunity to express themselves freely. Run azure. Azure means blue, and blue is a symbol of freedom. The poet wants to say that these children should be allowed to express themselves freely on gold sands. Gold sands represents freedom. So let them lead a life of freedom represented by golden sands, and let their tongues run naked. Run naked means no restrictions, no limitations, no restraints. Into books the white and green leaves open. So let them read books and let them breathe in fresh air. Here white leaves depict books and green leaves depict nature. This will then result in their progress, and they will be able to paint a bright future for themselves. History is theirs, whose language is the sun. Give the opportunity to express themselves freely. Let them discover themselves and let them be creative, so that their names can enter the books of history and let these poor children find their place in the sun. After reading this poem, students, you must have understood that the poem highlights the plight of the slum children. Their dark homes and neglected schools are like tombs for them. They are far away from the sunshine of knowledge and a normal life. They need to be removed from their unhealthy surroundings. The poem expresses the anger of the poet against the poor condition of millions of slum children.